First recording was about 6 hours long, and there were a lot of hiccups along the way, a lot of kind of awkward silent pauses. But I'd like you to forgive me because this is the first time I've tried such a thing, and so there's going to be some hiccups here and there. As the parts go on, I'll get smoother and smoother with what I'm trying to do. So I have some technical malfunction here. I have been unsuccessful in getting OBS to capture my rich text editor. I've been able to do it in the past just fine, but for some reason today it's just not working. And I don't know if LibreOffice Writer updated or OBS updated. I don't think OBS updated, but something updated and now it won't work. So I'm just gonna have this loading loading my save files screen up with this advertisement for this manga OCR while I read off my current list of differences between the original, which is the PC version, and the Xbox version. And these are just the biggest differences. There's going to be some small ones that I forgot. So the main one, of course, is these new 3D sprites. And around 2011 and 2012, some games fell victim to the whole 3D sprite craze. Looks like my noise filter is not on. Let me look into that. Oh, okay. It's on. Never mind. Um, it's just not on very strong, which is good. I don't want to put the noise filter on really strong or else it'll distort my voice quite a bit. Well, my biggest example I could think of was Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward. However, part of the reason why Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward looked so bad was not just merely the 3D sprites, but also the disproportion, like the how out of proportion the characters' bodies were. How Quark and Phi both had very large heads and small legs for no reason whatsoever. As kind of games moved on, game developers figured out that they can make sort of more visual appealing 3D sprites if they figure out a way to put like edges on the sprite. So, for example, AI the Somnium Files has these 3D sprites, but they managed to draw like the lines. So the line art's still intact, this virtual line art on top of the 3D sprite, and that makes it look a little bit less like a clay model, and less in that uncanny valley that you get with the 3D sprites. Another thing the 3D sprites do is they're forcing the animators to make the hair in these kind of like large bundles, which makes the hair look like it's made out of clay and not like real hair. Which, yeah, it's just another thing that happens. So yeah, for some reason in this era, 3D sprites were what the game developers were doing, and it looks terrible in my opinion. And there are these characteristics that I don't know if they're related to the sprites or not. For example, Sora is always frowning. um, Tsugumi has like a protruding jaw. She has kind of like I don't know, just a protruding jaw. These things are not something that comes across in the 2D sprites. And with 3D sprites, they have a hard time making the faces as expressive as they do in 2D as well. So the faces are just more boring and just have the same resting face the whole time. Anyway, that's kind of enough of my vocalization of my disdain for 3D sprites. So first difference is in the original, Takeshi's. This is like the first difference on my list. Takeshi's friends consist of two boys and one girl. They are not named, and they have no voice lines. They don't have a conversation any time in the story. The only time they're described and numbered is when Takeshi is talking to the kid and asking the kid if he's seen his friends. Takeshi asking the kid if the kid has seen Takeshi's friends. This is a conversation that does not happen in the Xbox remake. And these friends are given these I'm calling them flippant throwaway descriptions, which I don't know if that's the best word. I couldn't really find the right word used to describe these descriptions, but they were sort of off the wall and random, which kind of indicated that they weren't very important. I don't remember what they are exactly. One of them liked to knit, and one of them girls wouldn't ever love, and one of them, the girl was wearing a red dress with frilly lace, I believe. And this is part of, I consider this part of how, in the original, Takeshi's character is designed to be very ambiguous, not very nailed down, right? We know he's a college student, but we don't know what he's studying. He also, whether or not he broke up with his girlfriend or not, is up to the character's choice. The character can choose yes or no, and that choice doesn't have an effect on the routing. So it doesn't matter, what ending you get doesn't depend on what you make for that choice. Also, he's asked if he lives with his parents or if he lives by himself. And if you can answer that choice either way, and it doesn't affect your routing. He also gets thrown questions that are kind of more philosophical, like, have you ever sinned, Takeshi? Which are sort of less dependent on your choice, but you still get to choose on that choice, and whatever you choose, again, doesn't affect the routing. So, because of these, like, not nailed down things about his backstory, Takeshi is just, he's the player. He's whatever you want him to be, basically. And part of that is his friends being really ill-defined. There's just two boys and a girl, and they don't matter. It's how much they're just de-emphasized. The Xbox remake, there are only two boys. Instead of two boys and a girl, there are only two boys. And this ends up getting all emphasized when Takeshi and Tsugumi are having this conversation in the staff corridors behind the infirmary. Tsugumi asked Takeshi, did you come with anybody? He said, just two boys. And Tsugumi should probably know this because she was watching Takeshi and those two boys on the boat. And Tsugumi's response to that was, get away from me, you asshole. Which, because I was using DeepL Translator, that could have been a really unfortunate troll translation. So don't take that as gospel. But it was kind of like, did you come here with anybody, as if to probe, did you come here with a girl? Which is like to probe, do you have a girlfriend? And his response that, no, I only came with these two boys, is like this indication, like, of I'm single, which is like an indication that I'm seeking, which Tsugumi's reaction was like, oh, you're single. Oh, well, get away from me then. So that was emphasized. So there being no girl was emphasized. Now there was a girl named, and the girl was named Sayaka. But the girl, instead of actually coming with them, was the means to facilitate Takeshi coming, because Suzuki couldn't get the date with this girl. He had this extra ticket, which he gave to Takeshi. And then there was a third person, which I forgot that person's name. But anyway. So there's a girl, but the girl's not coming. So there's only two boys that came. These boys do have lines of dialogue, but they don't have sprites, of course. Lack of sprites indicates that they are probably throwaway characters that will be taken out of the story really quick. But they do have lines of dialogue. This makes Takeshi's character less ambiguous because he has named friends with known voices and known personalities. However, the backstory is somewhat generic sounding and not very creative. So you can give it that like, at least they don't spend it's not like really overwrought. But it doesn't even need to be there, and it's kind of bloat in my opinion. Okay, next difference. In the original, the lemur costume doesn't appear until Takeshi arrives in Lamu. And that CG of it is the first time we see it. You'll find this theme a lot, and my comparison between the original and the Xbox is that things are introduced with the CG. Where in the Xbox remake, for some reason, they're not. So the lemur costume is introduced with the painting of Coco latching onto the tail of the lemur costume. In the Xbox remake, the lemur costume shows up on the boat that Takeshi is using to get to Lemu. And this actually nails down some ambiguities that the original has. For example, the original doesn't really make clear whether or not it's Tsugumi's first time in Lemu. When the disaster happens, when the flooding happens. And whether or not she's commuting to Lemu and sleeping somewhere else, or she's sort of camping out on Insell Null. However, in the Xbox remake, she's shown being on the boat, going to Lemu, wearing the costume as the mascot of Lemu as she's traveling there, which nails down that she has been to Lemu before and she's commuting to Lemu. So it's like at least her second time there, and she's commuting and sleeping somewhere else. Makes things more rigid, I guess. Next, in the original, Yu picks up the kid as if to go on a date with him. So, yeah, she finds the kid and just sits down next to him, and the kid's eating ice cream, and asks the kid what he's doing. He's like, I'm waiting for somebody. He's like, who are you waiting for? He's like, I can't remember. It's like, oh, it sounds like you've been stood up. Can I take you on a tour of Lemu? Right? In the Xbox remake, Yu does not do that. Which makes it so that in the original, Yu seems to not be taking her job very seriously. Where in the Xbox remake, she seems to be taking it frantically seriously. So it's a somewhat different personality for Yu. And it cuts out some of that interaction between the kid and Yu, like their elevator ride. In the original, while the kid is on his tour with Yu, he happens to see Sarah, although she's not named yet in the Xbox remake. But I'll tell you, that girl that the kid sees and chases after, her name's Sarah. While on the tour, in the Xbox remake, because he doesn't go on this tour, he sees Sarah in the recreation area. But similar. Okay, next difference. From the kid's perspective, the kid in the original, from the kid's perspective, the kid, when he's in the infirmary, after he gets dragged there by Yu and Takeshi, when you're looking at the situation from the kid's perspective, he runs out of the infirmary and jumps into the pool in the recreation area. It's a little bit confusing in the original, though. It's not clearly worded, but after you study, you get that's what went on, right? In the Xbox remake, that doesn't happen. So it just says white, 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 white. That's all it says. And then you don't get that whole thing where the kid jumps in the pool. And then in the original, Yu and apparently a couple extra staff members have to help her fish him out when he does that. And he ends up back in the infirmary again. Next difference. In the original, Tsugumi punches Takeshi in a way that seems prompted. So Takeshi walks up to the person in the lemur costume, assumes that they are a Lemu employee because they're wearing a costume, and asks if there's a way that he could page his friends on the intercom. And then because he gets no response, he keeps kind of harassing the person in the costume and kind of tugging on the costume and stuff. Until Tsugumi, who was in the costume, maybe because she's annoyed at him for doing this, or also because she can't figure out a way to not blow her cover, because she feels like if she were to try to page somebody on the intercom, that would blow her cover. Or she tried to explain that she couldn't, that would blow her cover. So she just punches him. And then Yu shows up before she can flee, but then Yu happens to be airheaded enough she doesn't identify what just happened, and then she runs away. In the Xbox remake, there is no prompting from Takeshi that would give Tsugumi a real good reason to punch him. Tsugumi just walks up to him randomly in the Lost Child Center and punches him out of nowhere. Just because she feels like punching this dude. And I guess the idea is supposed to be that she likes him, and so she does it as sort of a pickup technique where she knows that he'll chase after her after she does this, and so she's trying to pick him up. And as such, making the Takeshi x Tsugumi thing happen way faster and make it way more cheesy. Make Tsugumi just come on Takeshi real fast. Whereas in the original, it looked like Tsugumi's all about serious business, and Takeshi just by happenstance happens to keep encountering her. Right? It's not like Tsugumi tries to mess with them or something. Anyway. In the original, okay, next difference. In the original, Takeshi runs into an elevator. Why does he run into an elevator? Because he's trying to find his friends, right? So he jumps in an elevator to go down to Dorite Stock because he's trying to go to the recreation area, which he thought is a good place to look, right? Which is down on Dorite Stock. And he ends up in the elevator alone with Tsugumi. And they end up trapped together in the elevator. And that's when you first see that painting of Tsugumi. And the painting of Tsugumi is the first time you see before you see a sprite of her. So she's introduced by a painting. In the same way that Yumyun, which is the lemur costume, is introduced by a painting. In the Xbox remake, he encounters trapped with Tsugumi not in an elevator, but in a corridor behind the infirmary. And he doesn't just run in there. It's not like he runs to the elevator to find his friends. Instead, he thinks I gotta find my friends, but then starts running after Tsugumi instead for no reason. So, and what this does is it makes that CG somewhat out of place because the background in that CG is like the inside of an elevator, but it's kind of not. And it's the background of that corridor in the Xbox remake is quite different. And it's kind of weird to just have her like a CG of her leaning against the wall in that context. It's kind of like shoehorned in there. They had to fit the CG in there somehow. But it wasn't, it didn't feel very natural, right? The way it's introduced in the original is more natural. Next difference, in the original, according to Takeshi's thoughts, it's Takeshi who figures out how to get out of the elevator. Now, if you study the timeline of the original carefully, you'll notice that it has to be the case that Takeshi and Tsugumi are trapped in that elevator for an hour and a half, which is quite longer than you would think at first. But apparently it's Takeshi who figures out how to get out. In contrast, in the Xbox remake, it's Tsugumi who figures out how to get out of that corridor that they're trapped in. And it's really goofy. She apparently pulls 2 screwdrivers out of her hyperspace arsenal, stabs them into a pipe, makes the pipe leak, and that somehow opens a door. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. In the original, next difference. In the original, Takeshi and Tsugumi do not hear the evacuation announcement for some reason. So when they finally escape that elevator, there's no one in Lamu, and they don't know why. So Takeshi's walking around saying where is everybody? And Tsugumi's just kind of tagging along with him. Until Tsugumi goes, I think we're caught in a trap, we need to get out of here. And so then they try to get out, and they figure out all the doors up to Insell Null are closed, and then, so on. In contrast, in the Xbox remake, they do hear the evacuation announcement. So once they escape the corridors, they try to evacuate. But because of plot, there are these things called escape pods, which don't exist in the original, but they're all unusable because they're flooded or all taken or something. And so they can't escape. Anyway, but they try to evacuate, right? Unlike the original where they're kind of tooling around for a bit. Where is everybody? Why is there no one here? Right, it's different. This may not be on my list, so I might have forgotten about it, but another difference. In the original, Takeshi just walks up and pulls the mask off the person in the lemur costume who punched him, because why'd you punch me? And that's where you see the CG of the kid in the costume, sweating. In contrast, in the Xbox remake, he decides to kick said person in the lemur costume. It needs to be more violent for some reason. Next difference. In the original, the whole cast meets up in front of the Carousel Dolphine if you're playing as Takeshi, in front of the control room if you're playing as the kid. But there isn't any emphasis on any time it takes to get from the Carousel Dolphine to the control room. In contrast, the Xbox remake, there's this long pilgrim's journey from the meetup place, which is some corridor I presume was on Insell Null, to get to the control room. And along the way, Takeshi's having some conversation with the kid, which gives the kid, when you're playing as Takeshi, a little bit more emphasis. If in the original, when you're playing as Takeshi, the kid is an extremely minor character, is almost non-existent. And the kid on the journey down seems to be predicting the future, much like a person from Tsugumi's backstory from the original, which in Tsugumi's backstory, she implies that person is no longer alive because they were killed. I'll figure out why later in the story. Where this is in the original, when you play as the kid, there's some implication that the kid, it's a red herring, but there's some implication that the kid could predict the future, but only when you're playing as a kid, not when you're playing as Takeshi. But yeah, there's this long journey in the Xbox remake to get to the control room from where you, Coco, and the kid meet up with Sora, Takeshi, and Tsugumi. And so it makes Lemu seem like a much bigger place in the Xbox remake than it does in the original. The original is kind of small. Xbox remake, it feels all big and mazy. In the original, Lemu floods in two big stages. Later on, there's a couple minor ones, the warehouse floods and the cosmic whale room floods. But it floods in two big stages. The first stage, the Insell Null floods in Sector 3, I believe, if I remember correctly, of Dritte Stock and Zweite Stock flood. And the second stage, all but like the certain specific rooms the story takes place in, floods. When you play as the kid, it all happens in one stage, and that's notable. However, in the Xbox remake, it seems like the Lemu is flooding like one bit at a time in this continuous way. And how many individual little flooding events I've lost track of by now. And we haven't even gotten to as far in the timeline. We haven't gotten far enough in the timeline to get to when the second flooding happens in the original yet, in the Xbox remake. So we haven't got to the whole flooding yet. Next difference. The original, the figure 12.5 atmospheres is not mentioned until the very end of Takeshi's routes. In Xbox Remake, it is mentioned very early. It's already told you that something needs to be pressurized to 12.5 atmospheres somewhere in Lemu because there's a supply elevator that needs to be pressurized to 12.5 atmospheres. Next difference. In the original, the reason why Lemu is going to fail is because, like the civilians, when evacuating Lemu, somebody somehow opened a door, somehow there wasn't a safety on this Lemu, that exposed Lemu to the outside air pressure, and Lemu decompressed down to 1 atmosphere. Because Lemu structurally is not designed to be able to work at 1 atmosphere, the water pressure outside exceeds the air pressure inside, it will implode eventually. And so eventually, because of eventually Lemu is going to implode. And that's why it will eventually fail. That's why they have a time limit. In contrast, in the Xbox remake, Lemu stays pressurized, as it appears so far. But because certain places of Lemu are filled with water, it's denser in some places than others. Also, it's just denser than it's supposed to be in general. And so the structure of Lemu can't support it, and eventually it's going to collapse due to just weighing more than it's built to be able to weigh. So again, in the original, it's going to implode because the pressure inside is too little. In the Xbox remake, it's going to collapse because it weighs too much. Different mechanism. Next difference. In the original, Lemay predicts at the beginning of day 2, the morning of day 2, that Lemu will implode. Lemay is the supercomputer for Lemu, which hasn't been introduced yet in the Xbox remake. Anyway, in the 119 hours, which is 7 times 17 hours. In the Xbox remake, on the afternoon of day 1, Sora predicts that Lemu will collapse from the afternoon of day 1 in 170 hours and 17 minutes. Now that's a later time of collapse because it is fewer. So the difference between 119 hours and 170 hours is 41 hours, I believe. No, it's 51 hours. I can't do math. 51 hours. That is longer than from the afternoon of day one to the morning of day two. So there's basically the Xbox remake is just longer till the disaster happens. Um, Next difference: Tsugumi leaves the group after Takeshi suggests they split up in the original. In the Xbox remake, Tsugumi leaves the group unprompted. Similar but subtly different. And last but not least, in the original, I had a choice to play as Takeshi or the kid. In the Xbox remake, I have not seen that choice. It just funneled me right into Takeshi. There might be some sort of complicated mechanic going on I don't understand yet, but I didn't. I just, as far as I see it so far, I didn't see a choice. Like I would just, it forced me to play as Takeshi first. Okay, that's a lot. Ooh. Now I'm gonna, for about half an hour or so, I'm gonna keep going into the game. Let's actually load the save. I'm teasing. Let me check OBS and make sure that what it's recording seems reasonable. Okay. I presume this is yes.
さてと、これで全員の自己紹介も済んだわけだけど、約1名戻ってないし。
Okay. See how well my translator's working today. Not very well. I'm gonna have to debug this or something. Um, yeah, my settings for some reason are not working. I don't know what's wrong. Okay, let me try to. This is awkward. Oh, I cannot get these settings to work. Ah, okay. I don't know what was going on there. I had to reload the settings for some reason. Struggling. What? Oh, now that everyone has been introduced, about one person has not returned. That's not quite correct because it was like garbage characters at the end from that red stuff. Let me try to get rid of the red stuff. Oops. Still got some still got some junk in there. That. Close enough. We'll keep trying. That's really finicky.
何より遅い時間だし、コスミッシャーバルに行けるのは明日になってからだし、今日はゆっくり休むとしますか。
I'm going to take a rest today because it's late, and I won't be able to go to the we won't be able to go to the College Val until tomorrow. Sleeping in this room?
どうしようか。仮眠室は水没エリアだし。
What should we do? The nap room is a flooded area.
それなら救護室の医療用加減圧室がいいと思います。
There's a nap room? When I think that the medical decompression chamber, then I think that medical decompression chamber is the first aid room is the way to go. Yeah, we're back with this. So, if you remember in the original, and then if you've seen the original, Coco starts to feel kind of sick. And so as a result, Sora suggests that they all do recompression therapy because they might have decompression sickness. Um, yeah. Noticing here that Coco being sick isn't happening, so it's not being prompted by that.
あそこなら急な減圧や酸素不足にも耐えられる構造です。それに救護室、加減圧室の下には緊急用の非常通路もありますから。
The structure there can withstand sudden port pressure or a single foot of oxygen. And there is an emergency passageway under the first aid room and the pressurization decompression chamber. Well, that's pretty awkward translation, but okay.
そうね。この区画内ではあそこが一番マシかな。布団もあるし。
I guess Soko is the best place in this block, right? There's a futon, too.
だけど、休む前にシャワーくらい浴びたいわね。
But I'd at least like to take a shower. First.
ここにはトイレやランドリー、簡易シャワーもあるから、寝る前に済ますことは済ましておきますか。
There are toilets, laundry facilities, and showers here, but why don't you finish what you need to finish before you go to bed? So, kind of dithering with the settings here. Sorry about that. I dithering too much. Made a mess of things. Threw our clothes, soaked and stiff with salt water, into the laundry while we showered and worked up a sweat. Work up a sweat in the shower? Whatever you say, Takeshi. Come on.
はい。
Did the game crash on me? Tell me the game crashed.
倉成武史。
Uh, put the game in some weird mode somehow. I'm gonna have to close it and restart it, unfortunately. It's not going as smooth as I hoped. I have no way of skipping the opening cutscene, so it's just gonna play. So this is just gonna be in the footage, I guess. Okay, that's over with. Now I can try this again. Okay, hitting the start button, and then hitting the A button to those menus, and hit continue, hit load. Then I load the thing I previously loaded, and I toggle over to yes.
さてと、これで全員の自己紹介も済んだわけだけど、約1名戻ってないし、何より遅い時間だし、コスミッシャーバルに行けるのは明日。どうしよう。
それな、あそこな。
そうね。だけど、休む前、ここにはトイレやランドリー。
This is the line that I previously translated, right? So I should be able to translate again and get the exact same translation, I presume. Okay. Let's keep going. When I return to the restroom, I refresh both physically and in the morning. There's probably some kanji mixed up between morning and mental. So I don't see any of them. Here's my translation window. Could be larger. I found the boy sitting alone in a chair. Have you showered?
はい。
Yes. Takeshi Kuranari. You can call me Takeshi.
倉成武史
Takeshi? Takeshi is the Boo character from Bushido, you know. It's not a ceremony. It looks like I got the characters right, so I just translated it really poorly.
すいません。どんな文字なんでしょう。
I'm sorry, what kind of letters are they? Which basically is asking how do you spell that? I cannot remember his memories. I should probably take note of everyone's names and stuff. I mean, that was pretty rough translating, but basically it was like, how do you spell that, as I presume is what they're talking about. And if I remember something, I can write it down before I forget. Now, these are probably not supposed to be... So, yeah, again, in Japanese, we don't have these pronouns. So, these I's are probably not supposed, in this context, supposed to be I's. They're supposed to be he's, hims, right? Not I's. He's talking about the kid, not himself, of course. Oh, well, this is... well, okay. That's not the kid's dialogue box. I looked around. There was a bag of woman's things left behind by somebody. That I don't know is probably that last character that's like not part of anything. Another thing to note is, last time I had a lot of problem with skipping dialogue, and that's what that indicates is I have some setting turned on that allows me to skip dialogue that I haven't read yet. So at some point I'm gonna have to go into before I like go through routes a second time. Should go into the settings to see if I can turn that off and turn on a mode where it only skips dialogue I've previously read. Otherwise, the skip button will become useless because it'll just skip things I don't want skipped. I looked inside and found a change of clothes, and oops, it was packed with a digital photo frame and various pistols and stuff. Okay, it's a very strange translation you got there. Basically, it was use pictures, right? Pictures of herself. And I find a writing pad and a brand new notepad. Just using used stuff without her permission, I see. Writing utensils include sign pins, pull pins, etc. I took out a ballpoint pen. This decal is just crazy. I wrote my name in kanji on a brand new piece of paper. Here, take a note and a ballpoint pen. I wrote my name in kanji
ありが
characters.
とう。
Thank you. I gave them all names. I told them the names of everyone. I gave them all names. Being gender neutral, are you? It's supposed to mean him. It's supposed to be him. The boy immediately starts to run a pin. I don't know the kanji for everyone's name, so I'll have to ask you guys to help me out later.
そうする。
It should be I'll have to ask them to help you out later. Yes, I will.
あれ
Or
ところで、今は何年なの？
it could be you will have to ask them to help you out later. What is it? What year is it now, by the way? I'm going to say it's 2017, I presume. I was going to ask, you don't remember the year? Have you forgotten that?
そうみたい。
It's like, have you forgotten everything? Guess so. I think it is the year 20. What year is it? Oh, I think there's confusion on this side. When you play as Takeshi, there shouldn't be confusion about the year is. It's just 2017. Oh, yes, the year is 2017. Here, write it down.
わかった。2017年と。
Got it. 2017 years, and It's May 1st. What's wrong?
あ、年を聞いたら、生年月日ぐらいは思い出すんじゃないかと思ってたんだけど。
I thought you might at least recall your birth date if I asked you how old you are. Or I might at least recall my birth date if I asked you, what the year was or something. Oh, well, you don't even know your own age, do you?
うん。
Translates it to, I'm going to go to, I think I'm in a bad year, I don't know. Which is obviously wrong, because there's a 42 in there somewhere. So I could be 42. You could be 42 years old for all you know, is probably what Takeshi's trying to say here, because that's what he said in the original, I think.
Eh?
You say it? And then Tessie's like, I'm just kidding. The boy was a pawn and held his face. That's because it OCR'd that kanji wrong in there. Sorry, kiddo. Sorry. So you're gonna say he looks 14 or 15? I think you're probably around the ages of 14 or 15. Can't imagine you being over 18, right? If 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 you were 18 years old, you would have a very childish face.
か、お、
Oh, don't tell me you can't even remember your own face.
うん。
You can't. If that's the case, why don't you look in the mirror later and write down your portrait too?
は
You just walks in. What are you doing with my stuff? What's going on? Turned around, there stood you with a bloody look on her face.
倉成くん、そのカバン開いちゃってるんだけど、中を見たわね。
It's gonna turn the tilde into a hey. Kurinari, that bag is open. Did you look inside? This bag? Was it yours? Sorry, I needed something, so I borrowed some of the stuff in there.
ふーん、勝手に漁ってくれちゃったんだね。勝手に女の子のカバン漁ってくれちゃったんだね。
You went through a girl's bag all by yourself, didn't you? You went through all the girls' bags, didn't you? There's only one girl's bag. Tsugumi doesn't have a bag. So that's what happens?
このエッチ
Yeah, the OCR can't handle those tildes. You took a powerful drop to my brain. Oh well. The OCR is gonna have trouble with those kanji. Flew away for a moment.
タケピョン、どうしたの
I think Coco has a bag. What happened to Takepyon? Coco comes out of the shower and calls out to me as I'm stretched out on the table.
タケピョン、大丈夫
Takepyon, are you okay? I'm a little dizzy, but I'll be fine as long as I lie down.
タケピョン、眠いの
I'm not gonna tell on you. Are you sleepy? Coco's face looked sleepier when she said that.
倉成、
Koinari? Hmm?
何やってんの
What are you doing? You know what I'm doing. You punched me in the face. Oh, Coco looked sleepy. I left Coco.
はあ。で、ココ眠いの？
Is Coco sleepy?
ポチポチ眠いよ。
Pretty sleepy.
じゃあ寝ましょうか。こっちにいらっしゃい。案内してあげる。
Let's go to bed. Come over here. I'll show you around.
はい、じゃあピピ行こう。
Go with Pee Pee.
しょうちゃんも行こう。
Shochan, let's go too.
うん。
I guess Shochan is the kid.
たけぴょんも行こう。
Takepyon. Let's go too, I think is what it's supposed to mean. That's right. Tsugumi flashed in my brain. Not yet. Somehow I was curious about Tsugumi, so I decided to wait for a while.
それじゃあたけぴょんおやすみ。
Takepyon, you look good. Okay. Good night. I presume she meant good. It means good night, and then Takeshi responds with good night. Accompanied by you, Coco left the room. So she does just come back. As if passing by, Tsugumi enters the room. Wait, okay, so in the original, on day one, they all split up and look around. And so there's a bit of these character introductions where Takeshi walks around and talks to each character. He talks to the kid, he talks to you, and he talks to Tsugumi. Talking to you in the Carousel Delphine, the kid in the gift shop, and Tsugumi in the elevator hall. And that's where Hugh tells Takeshi that she's got a job in Lemu because she thought she'd find out what really happened to her dad. And she believes her dad is still alive in Lemu somewhere. And where Tsugumi gets to say, I suppose I could die in a place like this. That wouldn't be too bad, would it? But these conversations seem like they're not going to happen. Interesting. Translated that.
仲良しごっこは終わったみたいね。
Character at the front. I don't know what it's going to do with the extra character. I guess we're done playing nice, huh? Join us too, Tsugumi? You're always welcome.
ねえ、もういい加減そういうのやめてほしいんだけど。
I'm not going to do that anymore. I've had enough of that kind of thing. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that kind of
バ
thing?
カバカしい。
Ridiculous. So, you should take a shower too, Tsugumi. While you're at it, the state-of-the-art laundry will wash and dry your saku.
もう二度と私に声をかけないで。
Does it say saku? Saku as opposed to like your gi. Anyway, I guess it has to be a uniform to be called a gi. Don't ever speak to me again, okay? I'll be. And it's like, it tacks on, because extra character, the end, I'll be right back, which I know is not actually written in Japanese. Tsugumi's head, but Tsugumi heads for the shower room. We're gonna do like the Danganronpa thing, we're gonna peek at her in the shower. Oh yeah, they told us to all sleep there today because it's safe in the emergency room's medical pressurization room.
安
Correct.
全な場所なんてないわ。
Tsugumi whispers something. No place is safe. Wait, I checked the backlog. Is that a line by Takeshi? Yeah, he said that out loud. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay. I thought I heard such a voice when Tsugumi disappeared into the shower room. Yeah, that's her response. No place is safe. I think I'll go to bed too. Got up as if to myself and headed for the bunkhouse where I was to sleep. House? What in the world? That's not even a word. We headed for the aid room, relying on the directions written on the wall. The first aid room was also somewhat disorganized, with some equipment falling over, possibly due to the accident. You was sitting in a chair. You look kind of dumbfounded.
ああ、蔵なり。
Ah, Kurinari. Are you tired?
さすがに。それに、ここに来ると、なんか振り出しに戻ったような気がしてね。
Yes, indeed. Besides, I feel like I'm back to square one when I come here. Indeed, I left here, had an accident, ran around from the flooding, and came back here again. I feel like we've been going in circles forever.
でしょ？
And you laughed with a tired look on her face. Add an extra character in that word. It's gonna mess stuff up. Oh yeah, I told him about this place when I met Sasaki Kitsugumi. Also known as just Tsugumi. Uh oh. You basically say, oh, I told Tsugumi about this place you're supposed to sleep, basically.
ありがとう。助かるわ。と言っても、あの調子じゃ、素直に来るとは思えないけどね。
Thanks, that's a big help. I don't think she's going to come straight away, though. at the rate she's going. Where do I sleep?
そこの二重扉が影圧室ね。中はここと同じくらい広いし、ベッドも人数分以上あるから適当に使っていいわ。
Double door, there's a pressurized decompression chamber, which is as big as this one. And there are more than enough beds for everyone, so you can use it as you see fit.
一応トイレも完備してるわよ。
So they don't have to repressurize though, right? Because they're still at 6 atmospheres in this version, so they're just using it for beds. There's even a bathroom in case you need to use it. Thank you. Good day to you then.
おやすみなさい。
I should have this phrase memorized. Good night. It's quite dim inside because the lights were turned off.
そうだね。きっともう出られないよ。
I'm not going to be able to get out of here. I can't get out. Alright, this is her talking to the kid in the future. Whose voice is that? It's Coco talking to the kid in the future. Someone is having a conversation.
みんな
This is just like the original. Everybody?
助けに来てくれたの？
Yes, did you come? Voice of Coco. She was talking to. Probably Coco and the boy who got in first.
でもきっと無理だよ。
Can't do it. She's giving him instructions. I don't know what that's supposed to be though. It's probably a mess. It's messed up because that one hiragana there got doubled up. Messed up that word. So I
もうどこにも出られないんだ。
can't get anywhere. I can't get out. Where are they? I don't know. So where is Coco and the person she's talking to? It's too dark to tell.
嘘。
That's definitely the wrong kanji.
だってだって
Perhaps because my eyes have become accustomed to the darkness, I could see Coco. See, the boy I thought was talking to Coco. It's the boy. As if played, Coco turned around. Coco was sitting on the bed.
タケピョン。
No, Takepyon. I thought you were talking to the boy right now.
翔ちゃんならあっちで寝ているよ。
Cho-chan is sleeping over there. Yes. As your eyes become accustomed, you will see. As my eyes become accustomed, I see the whole room. Do see a sleeping boy, but I don't see anyone else. Who's Coco talking to then? Suddenly I remember my biometric response was rubbish. Oh.
まさか幽霊だったりして。
They're gonna emphasize that Blinkwinkle is somebody on the biometric response? No way, it's a ghost. Oh dear. I don't think that's supposed to translate into anything meaningful. Yes. Deepel really likes to take the name of God in vain. Get it, I don't remember.
タケぴょん、どうしたの？
Akepyon. What happened? Looked at me curiously. I don't think that translation makes any sense. It's late at night. It's time for the kids to go to bed.
はーい。
Stretched out, yes. Coco wriggles under the covers. Well, I'm going to bed too. What machine translator would translate something to wriggles? That's some obscure vocabulary you're using there. More common vocabulary is also always a better bet. I crawled into an empty bed that was uninterruptedly empty. Close my eyes in the soft comforter. In the soft comfort or whatever. This is different from the original where he literally just sits on the floor and then you writes on his face. With each breath, the tension is broken. Dark, deep, deep down I fall. Last thread has quietly broken. I don't have to choose what, to wonder what'll happen, where Tsugumi's gonna sleep or where Sora's gonna sleep and stuff like that. I suddenly wake up. A screeching, unsettling sound wafts through the trees in my ears. Because that's what sounds always waft through, is trees, of course. Did my eyes open? I'm staring at the dark ceiling. I casually get up and sit on the side of the bed. Silent sleeping breaths dominate the area. I look around the room casually. We see the kid, we see Coco, we see Pee, and then there's another word I have to translate. I saw the cold faces of the boy, Coco, Pee, and you. Tsugumi and Sora are nowhere to be seen. There are no signs of human use on the empty beds. I hate that noise, but I guess that's the point of it. Once again, the sound is wooded in my ears. It's messing up a kanji where it's like making trees where there shouldn't be. That sound that signals the time to end. Uh, you mean it signals death? Okay, translation. Where did Tsugumi go? Where is Sora? Right now, should I go for Tsugumi first or Sora first? I think I'm going to go for Sora first on this. Because Sora is boring and I want to do Tsugumi after I do Sora. It's because I hate the Sora route, right? So I'm going to go for Sora choices. Where I have this like choice between the two. We'll do Sora, and then we'll come back and do Tsugumi, which is always better. So, the second choice, which is Sora. It's not Moi Toi, it's Sora. Missed a messed up translation there. Where is Sora? Yeah, there we go. Remember, Sora just means sky. So every time Sora's name comes up, it's going to be sky. Or the sky. We haven't seen each other since we introduced ourselves in the restroom. Are they still in the control room working on something? Or is she? Are there something I don't know? Or is she doing something I don't know? When is Sora going to get cold? I think a kanji got mixed up. Or will she never sleep? Yeah, some kanji got mixed up that turned sleep into getting cold, apparently. See the time on my cell phone. 1 minute till midnight, basically. Tomorrow will be here in 1 minute. Tomorrow yet to be seen. Hey, Zweite Stag. Weird awareness surfaces. strange landscape comes into view. Here am I. Woke up with a dazed disconnection, like the moment you wake up from a crushing sleep. Yes, we're in the ocean. We're in Lemu. Get up from bed and look around. There's no one here. That's strange. Unconsciously, I take out my cell phone and open it. Am 7:47. That's pretty normal. Range indication. Go approve the email, as is my usual habit. Okay, I guess it means texts. Single email, not a single text was received. Sure enough, it's out of range. I'm not sure. I wonder if Suzuki and Sato made it out safely. Takeshi. Well, let's get up. I'll be right back. That's probably not a thing. Let's get up. I closed my phone. Here we go. There's Fighte Tog. My face is reflected vaguely in the broken mirror. Now they're going to show he can't see his face, which is important. I couldn't see clearly, but I thought he looked different from usual. Wash your face, wash away your anxieties. Well, let's go to the guys. Maybe they are in the restroom. Went out into the aisle and saw Coco. Or went out into the corridor. Morning, Coco. Smile and say hello. I got his face written on again. Well, phooey. Take Pyonen laughing. You laugh as soon as you see someone's face. That's not translatable. It's like Pee-Pee barked, right? Pee-Pee started laughing too. It's so funny. Coco is laughing and rolling around, waving her hands around, holding something that looks like a tube. Meaning she's holding a pen. Did you come up with anything interesting? I don't think that's what that's supposed to mean. So maybe Coco is the one who wrote on his face. Is everyone in the recreation room? Control room? Can't have a conversation. Coco, who is rolling with laughter, and go look for everyone. On the way, we stopped at the control room, but the door was locked and we could not get in. Good morning. Okay, you changed already. After checking on Sora, you and the boy in the restroom, I gave him a vigorous rub down. I rubbed them cheerfully. Well,
やっと間抜け面が起きてきた。
let's get double up that hiragana. It's gonna mess things up again. Finally, the cretin face woke up.
おはよ
It's pretty good anyway. The kid, good morning.
おはようございます。
Good morning. Sorry, Sora, you weren't in the pressurization decompression chamber last night. Did you get a good night's sleep?
ええ、システムの最適化や調整に時間が十分取れましたので、調子はいいと思います。
Yes, we have enough time to optimize and adjust the system, so I think we are in good shape. Like, optimize and what optimization?
倉成さんはちゃんと休めたのですか？お顔が変ですが。
Did you get a proper rest, Mr. Kurinari? Your face looks strange. Oh, this kind of a... What's wrong with my face? It's like a double entendre. They're really kind of leaning into the double entendre with his face. Is it possible that fatigue and anxiety are showing on my face? No, it's okay. My face always looks like this in the morning. Fly trying not to worry Sora.
そうなんですか？
Sora's like, what? That's weird. Is that so? My face always looks like it's been written on with a pin in the morning. At that time, you suddenly began to suffer. What? You mean laugh? Is it doing the you suffering already? Her pain is contorted and she is holding her mouth in pain. What? Already? Wow, this isn't the show up till the end of the game in the original. Like, really late in the game. Or are they kind of doubling it up? They're like, I was just laughing, never mind. Perhaps because she saw you like this, the boy was restless and scurrying around. You, what's wrong with you? You look like you're in pain.
ちょっと持病の発作よ。
I'm having a chronic seizure. Seizure? I thought it was supposed to be a. Original is a heart defect. So a pre-existing condition. Are you okay?
平気よ。いつものことだから心配しないで。
Fine. Don't worry. It happens all the time. Yep. Is that so?
おかしい。
Oh, that's funny. What? Isn't that strange, you mean? Oh, it's gonna add extra. Did something tell you that? Of course, it doubled up on the hiragana, so it's wrong.
いや別に。はあ、なんとか持ちこたえた。
Well, nothing. I managed to hold it together. I don't know what kind of pre-existing condition, but the seizures seem to have subsided. Come to think of it, I don't see Tsugumi. Tsugumi here?
そうね。今日はまだ見ていないけど、そのうちひょっこり現れるんじゃないの？
I haven't seen her yet today, but I'm sure she'll show up soon.
それでも出発までに戻らなかったら空に探してもらうけどね。
If I'm not back by the time she's not back by the time we leave, I'll have Sora look for me.
そういえば倉成、ココと一緒じゃないの？どこかの寝ぼすけを起こしに行ったんだけど。
I was just wondering, Kurinari, aren't you with Coco? I went to wake up some sleepyhead. Coco would have been rolling in the corridors laughing.
確かに笑い転げるか。
Sure you want to-
こっちのこと。そうだ、倉成も朝食代わりに何か飲んだら？
It's over here, yes, Kurinari. Why don't you have something to drink instead of breakfast? Probably shouldn't be instead, but whatever. Yeah, I guess it would add some belly. I accidentally skipped again. Okay. Grab this line. Go through your pockets and look for your Lemu card. Stomach rumbles. At least I'd like to eat something a little more filling. Sigh escapes me as I look at the empty can of coffee I just finished drinking. Belly food, is it? So that's a Japanese idiom of some sort that I don't know. Thick cut steaks, demi-glazed hamburgers, chicken, yes, tatas, which I presume is just supposed to say chicken breasts. Translated to tatas. Meat to the point of being meaty. I like it. I like that translation. Meat to the point of being meaty. What in the world? I don't know if they have steaks, but if you go to this Vite stock, I think you can have a good meal. What? Are you sure?
昨日説明いたしましたが、ツバイトシュトックは閉鎖環境循環型のモデル施設です。
As I explained yesterday, Vite stock is a model facility for closed environmental recycling.
野菜の水耕栽培や深海生物の食品加工プラントもありますので、何かしらの食材が残っているはずですし。
Biosphere. Let's see here. We also have hydroponic cultivation of vegetables and deep sea food and a plant, so there should be some food left over. I'm going to go to the beach. I feel so much more energetic. This doesn't make any sense, but whatever. If we know that's the case, let's get out of here and get going, shall we?
そうね。そろそろ排水も終わった頃合いだしね。
It's about time the drainage was finished.
それじゃあ少年、ココを呼んできてくれる？そら、つぐみの場所を探してきて。
Then, boy, will you go and get Coco for me? Sora, go find Tsugumi's place.
はーい。
Yes.
わかりました。
Stay. Boy and Sora go to the door. Boy then cheerfully left the room with an exaggerated smile for laughing at me. Come on, D-Pal. You can do better. What? Is this a useless line or something? Do I have to, like, do it piecemeal? Like, fine, I have to piecemeal. Oh, let's just do the first phrase here. Okay, let's translate just that part. I realize now that it's too late. Okay. Name of the boy with amnesia is confirmed as boy. Well, that's correct. Seems to be a good idea. Just commenting on the boy's name being boy. Okay. I don't know why that didn't translate. That's what I used to call him too. Well, I don't have any characters to share with, and it's better than having a weird nickname. They'd have Tagumi chime in and say, just call him Kid. By the way, have you been able to get any communication with the outside world, such as from the rescue teams?
梨のつぶてよ。まったく、上はどうなっているのかしら。
Nothing. What the hell's going on up there? Don't tell me there's a typhoon approaching, or if the entire artificial island is being above Lamu as adrift.
さすがにないでしょう。台風の時期でもないし、人工島はアンカーで海底に固定されているしね。
It's not the time for typhoons. The artificial islands are anchored to the ocean floor.
ま、こっちに構ってらんない事態でも起きてなきゃ別だけどね。
Unless, of course, there's something going on that we can't afford to worry about.
呼んできたよ。
Kid's back. I've called for you.
なになに？もう出発するの？
Leaving already? The boy, who was probably nearby, soon brought Coco and Pee. Oh, let's get out. Get out to eat.
ご飯？
And she sees your face again and goes nuts. Ice, I'm going to the restaurant. Okay?
僕も、我慢、無理。
Okay. I started laughing again. Now the boy too. Did you eat something strange? It's like, did they eat something strange? And then... Oh, all their plans to escape using the whale submarine get dashed. The walls and ceiling quiver and creak in small increments. And the power goes out. That's what happens day 2, right? The lights in the room began to flicker uneasily.
地震かな？
Sorry, earthquake? And the power goes out. Wow.
何？
What? Coming from you, of course. Sudden darkness covers covers my vision, and I become tense all at once.
真っ暗だ！
Wow, it's dark. I'm in the dark. Coco seemed to be having fun. Kid, not so much. The boy screams in terror.
もう嫌だ。出してよ。ここから出してよ。
I can't take this anymore. Get me out of here. Fall asleep, boy. It's just a blackout. It's alright. Fall asleep, boy. So I skipped. Great. Yes, I need to somehow figure out a way to get settings to deactivate that. Or make it so that it only skips stuff I've already read, which would essentially deactivate it in this situation. I hugged the boy. The boy was trembling inside me. Coco Shochan, good boy, good boy. Coco pats the boy on the head. Says, calm down, everyone. It's okay. Lights will come on soon. No, they will not. They will not until you fix them. Or Tsugumi fixes them. Before use dialogue is over, the emergency lights come on. What happened this time?
空いる？ちょっと来てくれない？現状報告お願い。空！
He's gonna call for Sora, and Sora's gonna be gone. Sora, can you come over here for a minute? Status support, please. Lemme is offline, right? Can you translate that? Yeah, my internet is slow, and so some of these they just don't get submitted. Submit. You called for Sora. Can you hear me calling from up here?
ダメか。参ったわね。つぐみも戻らないし。多分大丈夫だと思うけど。みんな、念のため救護室に避難するわよ。
Just be safe. We're going to evacuate the first aid room. He's not been seen since yesterday. Sora, who went to look for Tsugumi, never returned. Feeling. Who is definitely on the verge of collapse.
倉成、何ぼーっとしてるのよ。移動するわよ。
Kunari, what are you pouting for? Let's move. You, go ahead. I'll go get Sora and Tsugumi. Stare at the boy, still shaking. Man, aren't you? Dun. See, not soon, it's un. But I'm going to ask you for a favor, boy, okay? If anything goes wrong, you, the man, will protect us all.
僕が
Protracted way of saying baka. It's like, yes, it is. Pokaga. Whatever. Poppycock? Sure. To me and then at Coco and the others. Then he turns his gaze back to me. Yoshi. I placed my hand on the boy's forehead with a pop. I turned to leave the room. I was about to leave the room when I heard a voice saying, I'll be back.
だったら倉成、これ持って行って。
If that's the case, Kuranari, take this with you. Yo produced a single card with a lanyard that hung from her neck.
これマスターキーね。これで中からロックされていても大抵の場所なら入れるから、つぐみをお願い。
This is the master key. With it, even if it is locked from the inside, I can get into most places. So please take care of Tsugumi. I'll definitely bring Sora and Tsugumi back.
倉成、空は別に。
Kuranari, Sora's another. Yeah, you're not going to be able to bring Sora back because the power's out. But Tsugumi's going to figure out a way. Tsugumi's going to get Sora back. I took the card from you and immediately ran out. She's going to get the power back on. My footsteps echo in the narrow corridor. Hurry down the red-tinted aisle, or corridor. He's gonna call it Sora and Tsugumi. Yeah, Sora and Tsugumi, where are you? Where are you? Call but no answer. Where are you? Anyway, I headed for the control room. Enter the control room using the card borrowed from you. All the monitors in the room are filled with red text. Although I don't see that in the CG in the background, but whatever. Something's happened, but I don't know the details because I can't operate the terminal panel. I don't know what's going on. However, I can read the words emergency, emergency seawater battery activated, and system energy saving mode. So, Tsugumi, are you there? I don't see anyone. Sign of people. If only Sora were here. she could use the scan she mentioned yesterday to somehow find out where Tsugumi is. Tsugumi has not been seen since last night. Maybe they are trapped somewhere, waiting for help to come. Trying to go forward until we get to the scene where Tsugumi blasts a hole in an elevator. I shook off these fears and left the control room. Ah. I can't believe my eyes for a moment. I can't believe my eyes. There she is. Because Tsugumi was standing right in front of me. Tsugumi? Tsute? Tsugumi, where have you been all this time?
あなた制御室に入れるみたいね。
You seem to have access to the control room, don't you? Use the master key to get in.
ふん。あなたがそれ持っていたんだ。
I'm not sure I want to go back to that. Did you have that? Just borrowing it from you.
じゃあそれで私を中に入れてくれない？
Now, why don't you let me in? Gaze pregnant with coldness looks at me. It's creative language. Oh dear, I don't know what these are gonna mean. This is some new choices here. Look into the eyes of Tsugumi. But Sora is. Does it really look into the eyes of Tsugumi? Is that really the choice? I'm gonna do but Sora is. Not look into the eyes of Tsugumi. What in the world? Is that the right choice? I'm just gonna do the Sora choices first. And go back to the Tsugumi choices afterwards. But Sora is. Now I have to go find Sora.
いいから早く。
Just go. Tsugumi's power without saying whether it exists or not. Okay. Use the master key. As soon as she enters the control room, Tsugumi sits in front of the terminal panel. She starts tapping away at the keyboard with a familiar hand.
不正シャットダウンによるシステムの完全ロックアウト。何よこれ。
Complete system lockdown due to P fraud shakedown. Okay. He taps irritably on the keyboard.
となるとこっちが先ね。
This one comes first. Facility map is displayed on the monitor, and the location of the facility is later displayed in red. Okay.
なるほど。発電施設が異常なわけね。だけど詳しい状況はわからないか。行ってみるしかないわね。
I see why the power generation facilities are always in the field. But we don't know the details, we'll have to go there.
ルートはこれを使えば幸い水没区画じゃないけど機能停止
Somehow broken turned into in the field. You can reroute it to, you can use this. Fortunately, it's not a submerged parcel. What? No more functionality?
無理ね。だけどこの
It's talking
構
about
造
the
が
EI elevator, right? Possible. But with this structure, what'd you find out?
そうね。現状発電機がストップしているわ。
Sure, I'm sure I'm right, probably. The generators are down at the moment. Isn't that important?
緊急用の海水電池システムに移行しているから最低限の電力は供給されているみたいね。
Moving to an emergency seawater battery system, so it looks like we have a minimum power supply.
ハッチの開閉とかは問題ないけどほとんどの電力はコンピューターのシステム維持に回されているみたいだから。
Problem with opening and closing hatches and such, but most of the power seems to go to maintaining the computer system.
だけどそうね。
Yes. She gave me a thoughtful gesture and turned her head to me.
あなたちょっと付き合ってくれない？
You want to come with me for a minute? Me? Can't help but ask back. Okay. I was a little surprised to be asked to talk about it out of blue. Talk? You mean just do something? Tsugumi is staring at me.
あなたがどうしても必要なの？
I really need you, Takeshi. Yes. I not expected to hear such words from Tsugumi. His eyes looked straight into mine. I'm so intimidated by the heat in her eyes.
お願い。
Thanks. Okay. Translate these. Going to go along with Tsugumi or going to make sure your friends are safe first? Um, I don't think there's any benefit Sora-wise to doing your friends are safe first. I'm just going to go along with Tsugumi. Follow Tsugumi. Swept away. Okay, well, gee. So this like overblown language. I can't move as I'm being sucked into the
あ
eyes.
なただけしか頼りにできないのよ。お願い。
Come on, please. You paperweight. Yeah, I need you for your weight. Then Tsugumi hugged me. What? A bit different than the original. Yes, this is a bit faster than the original that did this. A good smell tickles my nose. The ratio was pointed at. Well, that's because it didn't do that kanji at the front correctly again. Really doesn't. OCR really doesn't like that kanji. Well, okay. It's you. They're just supposed to be, I'll go with you.
そう。ありがとう。
Thank you. It's like way overblown than it needs to be. I usually help to fix something. Suma expressed her gratitude. That moment, for a moment, I thought I saw the depths of the Gumi's eyes light up. Zay. Is that an idiomatic thing? Running up the long flight of stairs to the top. Once I returned to the first aid room and told you and the others about the generator, I was guided by Tsugumi to the generator room. I went back to the first aid room and. Okay. On the way, I was carrying a rather heavy toolbox that was given to me by Tsugumi. Find me here carrying your stuff. Not going to let a woman carry such a heavy load of quicksand, though. Quicksand, of course. It's heavy. Top of the stairs, my legs stopped. That kanji got switched again.
何休んでいるの？早く来なさい。
You're resting. Come quickly. Just give me a break. I die if I had to run up the stairs with this thing. You may remember from the original that in the original, Tsugumi actually carried the toolbox to the entrance to the AI elevator. And so she more like drug it than carried it. So it's guess she didn't have to carry it until after they went in the elevator. I just followed my feeble line that was about to come out of my mouth, and instead I asked, "Where's the power plant? Is it close?"
発電室はドリットシュトックの管理区にあるわ。
On Drittstock, right? Generator room is on the administrative district of Drittstock. On Katakana. Where is Drittstock?
名前の通り、ここから一番下の3層目ね。
The name says the third layer, the lowest one from here. It's like, then why do we go up the stairs? Wait a minute, then why do we come up here?
I エレベーターを使うためよ。
Yep, the EI elevator. To use the elevator. What's that? I thought the elevator didn't work.
I エレベーターは使えるのよ。
The EI elevator is working. It's not. They don't count out of weight. You have to pump it. There's an elevator. Can we use that to get? We can't get out of the. Get to the whale submersible?
ほんと、あなたって無知ね。昨日の話、ちゃんと聞いていなかったの？
You are so ignorant. Didn't you listen to me yesterday?
I エレベーターからのコスミッシャーバルへのルートは事故による封鎖ブロックで遮断されているわ。
The EI elevator. For the EI elevator to Kashmir Vale is blocked by an accidental blockade.
つまり、コスミッシャーバルへ行くには歩いて行くしかないのよ。
And the only way to get to the Kashmir Vale is on foot. See.
はい、無駄
Contrivance.
話はおしまい。少しは休めたでしょ？先を急ぐわよ。
Yeah, that we're done talking. Can you get some rest? You can get some rest. Let's move on. Once again, Tsugumi started running. Proceed to the unmanned corridor. Basically means empty. Sound of tools strangely echoes in my ears. Info ball. On at the elevator platform. Okay. Basically arrived at the EI elevator platform. Looked more like a boarding gate for some other vehicle than elevator station. Is this the elevator?
そう。中性浮力式エレベーター。I。
Neutral floating elevators. EI are the first neutral floating elevators in the world.
卵型をした潜水球。バラストタンクで浮力を調整して側面に設置されたレールに沿って海中を上下に移動する乗り物よ。
Submersible sphere in the shape of an egg. It is a vehicle that moves up and down in the sea along rails installed on its side, adjusting its buoyancy with the ballast tank. Also known as a submarine, but on a rail. Fixed bar path submarine. The Smith machine of submarines. Isn't that almost a submarine? Can't we just get on this thing and get the hell out of here?
レールに固定されているからダメね。ま、あなたが海中に出てレールを外してくれるんならなんとかなるかもしれないけどね。
You realize, Takeshi, I don't really want to get out of here quite yet. I have some agenda I'm up to, having to do with IBF and stuff. No, because it's tied to the rails. Well, maybe if you would go underwater and take me off the rails, you might be able to work something out. I don't know.
やってみる？
You want to give it a try? No. As you can see, that's not going to happen.
じゃあ行くわよ。
Let's go. Should we take it off the rails? So, saying Tsugumi got onto EI. Looks the same as the original in here. When Tsugumi pressed the button, the watertight doors on both the Lemieux side and the elevator itself are tightly closed. They're gonna find
予想
actually.
通り。ここまでは海水電池でも作動するようね。
They're gonna figure out she lied and actually doesn't work. As expected, so far it seems to work with seawater batteries. Right. What's a seawater battery?
海水に浸せば発電する電池のことよ。
It's a battery that generates electricity when immersed in seawater. See, but really, Tsugumi is an expert on Lemieux. I can't tell from the uniform she's wearing, but I wonder where she's from. Thinking this, I put the toolbox I was carrying on the floor. Ticking. Tsugumi repeatedly pressed the button marked 3 on the panel. However, there is no indication that the EI is activated. Inside the dimly lit EI, it did not appear as if there was electricity.
こちらも予想通り。次は
As expected. Here is next. It's like, yeah, she like lied to Takeshi. She's like, I'm sure it's gonna work on battery power. Oh, never mind, it doesn't, as expected. Well then. With that in her mouth, she put the activation level marked emergency connection lock into the release position. Basically, with those words, a slight floating sensation is transmitted from my feet. However, EI remained stationary and did not start moving after that.
用意したバラストだけだとまだ軽いようね。
Still looks like with only the ballast I provided. Basically means can't pump the ballast. What's ballast?
重量物。
It's a knowing look. I'm the heavy because you're real. Is that what you meant?
これで沈まないなら次はこれね。
You are the ballast I provided. Yes. The ballast I provided just wasn't enough. If this doesn't sink the boat, this is the next one. Entertainingly goofy, trollish translations. Stunned and dumbfounded, Tsugumi opened the toolbox she brought with her. The ballast I provided was it? This thing is supposed to be able to take up way more than just two people, Tsugumi. Supposed to have it was like full in the original. Like there was a scene at the very beginning where it was just jammed full of people, including you and the kid. Some of them were electric screwdrivers, hydraulic cutting machines, laser welding machines, and small gas burners. It was crammed with all kinds of tools and equipment. Tsugumi held a small gas burner in her hand, and from among them, so what in the world is what?
沈まないなら
Doesn't sink.
沈めるしかないでしょ。
We have to sink it, don't we? Uh, wait a minute, what are you doing? Tsugumi slowly stands up with a lit gas burner in her hand. You have that, like, the gas burning noise. Converged blue flames roar and erupt. She's not burning you, Takeshi. Well, no way. Are you kidding, Tsugumi? The grin instead of an answer, Tsugumi smiles. Flames of the burn are directed at the shell of EI. It's supposed to be door, but I turned to a different kanji. Or ear, one of the two. There was no quiet to compare. Or like no whatever. I don't know if I can adjust this so it gets that kanji correctly. I think it's like the sense of hearing. But like it doesn't pick it up quite right. The whole size of a coin is made in the killing of EI. Which is supposed to be the wall of EI, but you know. Again, in the original, all she had to do was just go to the warehouse, get a bunch of heavy junk from the warehouse, throw it in the elevator. She didn't have to blow a hole in the elevator. I made it so like some sort of intentional like get Takeshi alone with me tactic. Immediately seawater gushes out at a furious pace. The amount of like things that had to get wrong to get into that like trend, whatever. The sea water that accumulates at the bottom of EI before I know it, something like that. It soaks my ankles, covers my shins, swallows my knees, and comes at me, doing all that stuff again, taking my body heat with it. What the hell are you doing? Get freaked. It gradually flooded. There was nowhere to run. What the hell were you thinking?
ねえ、アルキメデスの原理って知ってる？
Drawing this out so much more than they did the original. Hey, you know Archimedes' principle? Well, unexpected question strikes a void. Unexpected smile stops Mike's fused thoughts. Coffee. The quiet shake, the eye begins to move. Sinking. Spreading out from all the windows gradually increases in density and turns to dark blue. The ice sinks. The momentum of the eroding seawater increases. As the water level rises, the speed at which the ice sinks also increases. Isn't this a sinking? Most of my questions, Segumi continues to laugh quietly. She almost essentially kills herself. The water level reaches out to the chest area. She water is no longer submerged. Floats. Stand on your toes. Search of oxygen. Or float up, that is. Great force. I smash my head against the ceiling in a dashing manner. 2. Boundary with the seawater crosses the throat and the cold flows slightly into the mouth. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Nothing body sinks. In the cold water, I saw Tsugumi. Tsugumi was looking at me too. Let's not destroy all the tools with this, but whatever. Her face looked somehow sad. Instantly, Tsugumi moves. Clinging to the watertight door handle, she turns the handle. The handle is then turned. Kanji gets mixed up, so it turns out being like the dawn opens. As if caught in a torrent, Tsugumi and I were swept to the floor with great force. I don't need to translate that. Close the door, though. Swallowed it. Seawater in my trachea makes me diaper. Seawater in my trachea makes me diaper too. I was gonna mistranslate, definitely. I got down on all fours and spit it out. I turned around at the sound behind me. The watertight door was automatically closed.
予想通り緊急閉鎖システムは海水電池でも作動するようね。
He's got the wet clothes version. As expected, it looks like the emergency closure system works with seawater batteries as well. But it is different than the original one. The original, Takeshi is the one who opens the elevator, and he doesn't use a latch or something. He like has to pry it open underwater. They're really like making Takeshi not do anything in this remake. Takeshi actually did things in the original. Tsugumi, who had been watching the seawater being drained for a while, who had watched the seawater being drained for a while, turned to gaze to me.
立ちなさい。先へ進むわよ。
Stand up, let's move on. Gobbled it up.
だから
Sits. You just did the most outrageous thing without even explaining it.
だから何
Explain what? I mean, just flood. Just so what? You put people in harm's way. You don't even think about it.
思わないわ。
I don't care. I'm Smoog. I don't care. I don't think so. The thing is, it added this extra character at the front, right? So I have no idea if that is remotely anything like what, like the writers are trying to write there. It's complete. Because there's a character at the beginning that got added, and there's a character that got kind of doubled up. We got the two lines thing. I think that's turns a day into a day, right? So it's not the same thing as what translated is not the same thing as what's written there. I glare at Tsugumi. Tsugumi glared at me too. Gaze is exchanged, and silence takes over the scene. Suddenly, Tsugumi removes her gaze. Tsugumi's stifled laugh breaks the silence. Come on, don't be funny. What is wrong with you?
何よ。おかしいのはあなたの方じゃない。
You're the one who's crazy. Me?
まったく。我慢するのも限界だわ。
I'm totally losing my patience, she said. So am I, reading these lines. With a shiny smile, Tsugumi opened the toolbox that was swept out with us. Searching for something. Then, looking away, she turns back to me.
じゃあ、目を閉じてよ。
Well, close your eyes then. Are we gonna do that right here? We're not gonna get to... Yeah. Originally, they went to the generator room before they did this part. Well, what's at the body? Close your eyes now. What's at the body, Tsugumi? First character's messed up anyway. Tsugumi's gaze wanders. She can't seem to see my face properly. It's like, what the hell? What's going on, Tsugumi? Sudden turn of events left me
いいから閉
perplexed.
じなさい。
Close them! Deepal introduces the door for some reason. The irresistible intimidation may reflexively close the moon. Apparently. Some kanji's mixed up. See if we can finally translate this. Feeling the presence of Tsugumi in person, a strange mixture of anticipation and anxiety comes from somewhere. Wait, Takeshi hasn't figured out that he's got writing on his face yet. That's. Originally, actually figured out that he's got writing on his face by now. Because he put his hand on his face and he wrote the pin off. And right after I was about to ask her, what's the matter with you? That's cold. What are you doing? You still feel cold after you've been submerged in seawater? Something was put on my face. Eyes and look at her. That stings my face. Is that paint thinner or something?
まだよ。
Not yet. Translator's having a hard time with that. These are onomatopoeia things. Then a dry cloth covers my face. Flexibly, I close my eyes. She. No. That's how it's translated. Face is rubbed with the cloth-like object with great effort. I was rubbed. Tsugumi did not listen to what I said and did not listen to what I did, and my face continued to be tortured. Stop it. Move the cloth from my face. As you can imagine, I lost my patience as well. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Glared at Tsugumi fiercely.
何よ。先にふざけていたのはあなたの方でしょ。
You were the one who was fooling around first? Weren't you? Oh, she doesn't know that his face got written on. I was just messing with you. I was messing with you?
初めからずーっとふざけた顔していたくせに。
You've been making a funny face the whole time since the beginning. What are you talking about?
あなたの顔に書かれていたふざけた落書きのことよ。
You hit the joke of a postcard that was painted on your face. You mean the painting? What's a rakugo? What is this about? Oops. It's a jokey postcard on your face. Okay. Say, Rakugo, what are you talking about? Fidget with my face. A jokey raccoon drawing on my face. Okay. Suddenly I remember Coco rolling around laughing this morning, Sora's response to me, and Yu's unnatural seizure, all at the same time. It's all connected. Oh, they're especially Yu's wrinkles. Does that mean that I've been acting without noticing the scribble on my face from the morning until now? Not knowing this, I've been working with Tsugumi. I felt my face flush.
思い当たることがあったようね。
I've got an idea of what you're talking about. I gave a hollow. You got an idea what I'm talking about? Is probably what Tsugumi said. I gave a hollow laugh.
それじゃ先へ進むわよ。
Basically, it's probably supposed to be, you have no idea what I'm talking about? Let's move on then. Oh, it's Tsugumi, feeling something unconvincing. In the darkness, only the luminescent paint display appears to be brightly lit. And with this, I'm going to save. Get to the save here. Just toggles. Save. It's the wrong kind of save. Whoops, that's skip. Okay, did not want to do that. Now I have to go back and look at what I skipped. A section of the building seems to be completely blacked out. Despite the darkness that prevented her from seeing her footsteps, Tsugumi continued on her way. Right, it's starting to hint that Tsugumi can see in the dark. Okay. Perhaps because of her black clothes, she blends into the darkness and is often lost. Let's try this button. No. Definitely don't
そ
want
っ
to
ちじ
go.
ゃないわ。こっちよ。
Definitely don't want to go to auto mode. Translate that's like got it now. Not that way. This way. Um. How do I get into the save menu? For how to do this. It's on to the next screen, unfortunately. Because of the walking. Each time I received a warning from Tsugumi, I was amazed that she could proceed to the dark space without hesitation. Okay. Let's fast forward. Your discomfort quotient is high. Well, I'm used to humidity, but my clothes aren't drying well, and I feel uncomfortable. Your uncomfort quotient is high. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Got it saved. I'm just trying random keys until I find the one that's saved. And I'll stop recording right there.